Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and I was always told I had a voice of radio, so today we have got new cards to look at. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to continue looking at Ultra Prism in the future, but that is not today. We have a new card revealed, a really good new supporter card revealed from the upcoming Sun and Moon 5 Plus expansion, though we don't have any idea how that's actually getting released over in the US, Europe, etc. Might be part of our Sun and Moon 6 set, we don't know. We'll have to wait and see. It is Ultra Recon Squad. And I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, this card could be good, because here's the deal. We are going to have a rotation in September like we do every year. And essentially what the rotation means is that certain sets will no longer be legal for tournament play. Now, it's not been officially announced, but I can say with a high degree of certainty that the next rotation is going to be Sun and Moon onwards. So that means that in terms of draw supporters, things aren't looking good. We're losing Professor Sycamore. We are losing the supporter card N. And we are left with not very good supporter options at all. The best one we're going to have after the rotation is the upcoming Cynthia card. I'll pop a link to that one in the description. But long story short, it's just a reprint of Professor Oak's new theory. We are not going to have the draw support we've been used to for the last few years when the rotation hits, unless we get new card revealed, and we might be getting it. It's Ultra Recon Squad, and it does this. Discard up to 2 Ultra Beasts from your hand, draw 3 cards for each card you discarded. That is very, very good, and there's a huge caveat here. That is very, very good if you're playing an Ultra Beast focused deck. Now, our translation for this card comes from the lovely RappelmannTCG, Mr. David Hockman himself. Make sure you're following him on Facebook. He is wonderful. And this is a card that in some decks could absolutely help. Now, a quick ruling query at the beginning. These translations are always subject to change when they make their way over, but as it stands at the moment, it is only Ultra Beast the Pokemon, which means discarding cards like Beast Ball, which help your Ultra Beast, will not allow you to draw the extra cards here. Now, this could be the answer to the question, what are we going to use for draw power after rotation? Now, at first glance, this looks very similar to a card like Sophocles. Sophocles is all right. Sophocles allows you to discard 2 cards from your hand and then draw 4 cards. The thing is, with Ultra Recon Squad, if you discard 2 cards from your hand, you draw 6. And I made this point when I was talking about Cynthia. Shauna shuffles and draws 5 cards. Cynthia shuffles and draws 6. There is a big difference between getting 5 new cards and getting 6 new cards. So there is, of course, a monumental difference between drawing 4 new cards and drawing 6 new cards. Because, ladies and gentlemen, when you use Ultra Recon Squad properly, you get a new 6 cards. And this isn't like Cynthia, where you shuffle your hand into your deck and draw 6 cards. This draws you 6 cards, which is amazing. Professor Sycamore allowed you to draw 7 cards, but you've got to discard your hand first. Hal sees very little play, but that allowed you to draw 3 cards. That is half as much here. This could be really good. Of course, the thing to remember is it is only in Ultra Beast decks. You've got to discard Ultra Beast from your hand. Now, that's not necessarily the worst thing ever. I think we've got a couple of Ultra Beast decks which are looking pretty good in the near future. We've got the fairly obvious Buzzwole, seeing a lot of play at the moment with its Jet Punch attack that does 30 to the active, 30 to the bench. When you're playing a Buzzwole deck, you're playing for Buzzwole. Now, of course, at this stage, we should mention that if you discard all your Buzzwole, you don't get to use them. But if you're really relying on something like Ultra Recon Squad, you've got Rescue Stretcher, which will allow you to put those cards back into your deck, or you could even use something like Brock's Grit, which would get a greater number of Pokemon, while also allowing you to recover some of your basic energy as well. So we got plenty of options to get these back into your deck. We shouldn't be too worried about this. We've seen from Zoroark GX that discarding a card from your hand and drawing 2 is pretty good. So discarding 2 cards and drawing 3 for each of them could be very, very good. And let's face it, Zoroark decks are not going to be playing many Ultra Beasts. Zoroark decks aren't going to be using Ultra Recon Squad. But also Ultra Beast decks aren't going to be using Zoroark. You need something else. The other Pokemon we're getting that is an Ultra Beast that could be really fun with this is Naganadel. Now again, I've done a video about that, check the link in the description, but Naganadel for a single energy, or if you go into the expanded format and use Dimension Valley for 0 energy, does 20 damage for each Ultra Beast that you have in play. This is an incredibly efficient attack. Nice. You're going to need some draw power. Now, Ultra Recon Squad would be particularly good for this particular Pokemon, because of course, it is a stage 1, it evolves from Poipole, so if you're playing a 4-4 Naganadel line, then you're going to be playing 4 Poipole, 4 Naganadel. Then you add in the 4 Buzzwole, and you're playing a minimum 12 Ultra Beasts here. Now, don't get me wrong, this isn't always going to work. You're not always going to have 2 Ultra Beasts in your hand that you can then discard to use Ultra Recon Squad. I don't think Ultra Recon Squad is good enough to be an every turn supporter, just because you're not always going to have the cards in your hand, and discarding a card to draw 3 makes it worse than how. Or better than how if you want to discard. But I cannot overstate how great it is to have a supporter card that just draws you 6 cards. You just draw 6 cards. No shuffling, no getting rid of cards in your hand other than the 2 Ultra Beasts. Just going ahead and drawing 6 cards is absolutely brilliant. It is only going to work in a deck that plays a whole bunch of Ultra Beasts. But I tell you what, in that deck, this becomes great draw support. And let's face it, you've always got Tapu Lele. So you can always just go ahead and use Tapu Lele to search this out on the turns where it's a really good supporter, and then not use Tapu Lele, or use Tapu Lele to search something else out on the turns when it won't be a particularly great supporter. And I don't think I need to give too many props to Tapu Lele here. Everyone knows how great it is, but just to be clear, how great is it that you get to just search for whatever supporter you want using Tapu Lele? That is quite ridiculous. Now, there is one great use for this that I absolutely love. We don't have it yet, but if we ever get an Ultra Beast with the propagation ability that the old Execute had, this becomes an absolutely broken over-the-top great card. Execute allows you to just grab it from the discard and put it into your hand. So if you've got 2 Execute in the discard, then Ultra Ball is just search for any Pokemon. If we ever get an Ultra Beast with a propagation ability, that will make Ultra Recon Squad completely broken, so I don't think we ever will, but it's a fun thing to think about. The other fun use for this could be in the expanded format if you're using decks like Vespiquen and Flareon. Vespiquen and Flareon do more damage based on how many Pokemon you've got in the discard pile. So what you can do here is use Ultra Recon Squad, put 2 Pokemon in the discard, so you're doing an extra 20 damage, and then draw 6 cards, which makes it a great draw supporter. So I would expect a few people to be playing around in expanded, either with Buzzwole Flareon, or maybe Naganadel Flareon, or Vespiquen, it doesn't really matter which. Just playing around using Ultra Recon Squad as great draw support while discarding your Ultra Beasts, it could be kinda fun. The last thing I will mention about this supporter, we mentioned Beast Ball earlier. Beast Ball is a really good card if you play a whole bunch of Ultra Beasts. It essentially allows you to search your prizes for an Ultra Beast and then pop it into your hand. So, kind of cool If you're using Ultra Recon Squad, you can use Beast Ball to grab an Ultra Beast from your prizes so that you can discard it and draw more cards with Ultra Recon Squad. I am aware of how situational Ultra Recon Squad is. I know that it's not for every deck, it's only for decks that play a whole bunch of Ultra Beasts. And I'm fully aware that even when you're playing a deck which is completely full of Ultra Beasts, you're not going to always have 2 in your hand. But it's so good when you are playing an Ultra Beast deck and you do have 2 in your hand, that in any big Ultra Beast deck, this is an instant 1 or 2 of at least, and I think that's got to be worth 4 Wassies. It will see play in Ultra Beast decks, and it will probably be played in multiples, so I don't think I can in good conscience give it any less than 4 Wassies. But as always, ladies and gentlemen, I want to hear from you guys. So let me know in the comment section what you think about this particular card. Do you think it's going to see play? Are there any Ultra Beast decks about which you are excited? Go nuts! Be nice. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus pods and so on, you can do so by going to patreon.com/PTCGRadio. But by far the most important thing, as always, is to look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.